I didn't expect it, because voting, if you're perceived as voting against 9/11 families right before an election, not surprisingly, that's a hard vote for people to take. But it would have been the right thing to do. I'm concerned, and this is not just my concern. General Dunford, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, said this is a bad idea. Secretary of Defense said it was a bad idea. And then we found out some of the people who voted for it said, frankly, we didn't know what was in it. And there was no debate of it. And it was basically a political vote.
All right, the president talking about his stinging defeat yesterday when the Congress overrode his veto of the 9/11 bill, which enables now the family members of the 9/11 victims to sue the government of Saudi Arabia. Joining us now to talk about that and oh so much more, Republican Congressman from the great state of Tennessee, Marsha Blackburn, chairman of the Congressional Select Committee on Infant Lives and vice chair of the Congressional Committee on Energy and Commerce. Congressman, as always, welcome back. Here's the president. You idiots in Congress, so many of you voted for this bill. Truth is, they didn't even know what was in it. I mean, this guy just never stops, does he?
He does not stop. And I think that what you see from this is the thin-skinned nature that he brings to the office. He thinks he is right, and anybody who does not agree with him is wrong. And as you can see, there was enormous bipartisan support to allow the 9/11 families to go after the countries that may have harbored or befriended terrorism. This is the right step. It is the right thing to do. You have both chambers, bipartisan majorities in agreement, and I think the president thought he was honestly going to get out of office and never have a veto. And it, just doesn't work that way.
Right. And of course, there have been so few bills that he had a veto in the first place. This was the first override. But most of that is because Harry Reid would never even send a bill, never bring up a bill that he knew the president wouldn't sign to the floor of the Senate at all.
Well, that is right. And that was the primary reason for Democrats losing control of the Senate. You had hundreds of bills that were backed up in the Senate, and Harry Reid would not even bring them up because he knew they would pass cloture and that there would be bipartisan support on the bills, and the president didn't want to sign them. So, I appreciate that the Senate did move this one forward, and we now see when the Senate will work with the House and put things on the president's desk, he either has to sign it or veto it, and with bipartisan support, we will override the vetoes.
All right, let's move on to, there were hearings yesterday, House Oversight Committee, I believe it was, and Darrell Issa and others were asking questions of FBI Director Comey regarding immunity given to 5 people, including Cheryl Mills, Hillary's #1 person in the FBI investigation of the whole email scandal. We learned so much. And just listen to this short exchange here between Issa and Comey.
When the reverse was occurring, you were handing out like candy, according to some, immunity. Did you, or to your knowledge, Department of Justice, confer with Chairman Goodlatte, Chairman Chaffetz, Chairman Smith, or any of the other chairmen who had ongoing subpoenas and investigations?
Not to my knowledge.
So isn't there a double standard that when you granted immunity to these 5 individuals, you took them out of the reach of prosecution for crimes committed related to destruction of documents or withholding or other crimes pursuant to congressional subpoenas?
I don't think anybody was given transactional immunity.
Oh, really?
And it got, well, I mean, I got to tell you, I watched a good portion of that last night on tape, and I was shocked at the lack of knowledge, at the double talk, the fact that they gave immunity to Cheryl Mills to get her laptop, which, as Congressman Gohmert pointed out, all you had to do was subpoena it. You didn't have to give her immunity. I mean, either the fix is in, or Comey is not the man I thought he was, and he's very incompetent.
There are so many people who have expressed such dismay with Jim Comey because they felt he was going to be an independent and nonpartisan participant in this entire process as head of the FBI. And we have heard repeatedly from individuals about how this just speaks to them of the distrust that they have, and it confirms to them why they should distrust the government. In order for us to be a nation of laws that abides by the rule of law, we have to have the trust that public officials who are in charge of these agencies are going to uphold the law by abiding by the rule of law. And when you see favor that is being dished out or immunity given to hold people out or give them an excuse not to answer a congressional subpoena, you have to say, hey, wait a minute, this is out of control. And it's why people are distrustful of the Department of Justice and the FBI, and why they feel as if the White House and DOJ are many times conferring on what DOJ is going to do and what action they're going to take. And quite frankly, it is why people have said, I'm not so sure you all want to go to special prosecutors for anything right now.
Right.
They feel like the one institution they can trust to do its job on this oversight is the House.
Yep, absolutely. It was disgraceful. I was shocked. All right, let me ask you this. The debate number one is over, and what we got out of it as a result now is this woman, this former Miss Universe, all over TV, who it's revealed, according to reports, and she didn't deny it when confronted. She threatened a judge in Venezuela. She was accused of driving a getaway car from a murder. She had, there's a new report out today, she had sex on some Spanish language reality TV show. Porn career reported yesterday. And this is the person going around bashing Donald Trump, held up by Hillary as an example, when, of course, we know Bill and Hillary have been accused of much worse in dealing with women than just calling somebody a pig. So where are we?
Where we are is they're trying to get away from talking about the issues with the Clinton Foundation. They're trying to get away from talking about 33,000 emails that have vanished. They want to get away from having to talk about the issues that have arisen from Congress having to go back and call the FBI director in because of a laptop, because of these 33,000 emails. They don't want to talk about those issues. Hillary Clinton doesn't want to talk about Benghazi. She doesn't want to talk about the Americans that lost their lives. She doesn't want to talk about the fact that she told her family and other officials from other countries this was a terrorist attack, and told the American public and the families of the deceased, oh, it was done because of a video.
Well, Trump is going to have to bring that stuff up, too. We got 30 seconds, Congressman. Trump's going to have to bring that up either at the next debate or the one after.
I totally agree with you. He is going to have to bring it up, and I want to make certain that he does.
All right. Congressman, great to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time, as always.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. The one and the only, I admire Congressman Marsha Blackburn so much. And one of the things I admire, as we look at her on the screen there, keep it up, is that she insists on being called Congressman and not Congresswoman. Just so you know, it's at her insistence. All right, folks, was the fix in during the last debate? Some say Hillary is observed signaling to Lester Holt throughout the debate. You judge for yourself as we take you into this commercial break with this compilation courtesy of RedStateWatch.com. Watch and decide.
Because it's about time that this country had somebody running it that has an idea about money. When we have $20 trillion in debt, and our country's a mess. You know, it's one thing to have $20 trillion in debt and our roads are good and our bridges are good and everything's in great shape. Our airports are like from a third world country. And we have a country that needs new roads, new tunnels, new bridges, new airports, new schools, new hospitals. And we don't have the money because it's been squandered on so many of your ideas.
Let you and respond
maybe because you haven't paid any federal income tax for a lot of years. And the other thing I think is important.
It would be squandered too, believe me. 4,000 people in Chicago have been killed. We have to bring back law and order. Now, whether or not in a place like Chicago you do stop and frisk, which worked very well, Mayor Giuliani is here, it worked very well in New York, it brought the crime rate way down. Communities are being decimated by crime.
Your 2 minutes expired, but I do want to follow up. Stop and frisk was ruled unconstitutional in New York.
African American and Hispanic people, and it's very unfair to them what our politicians are allowing to happen.
Secretary Clinton.
Well, I've heard Donald say this at his rallies, and it's really unfortunate that he paints such a dire, negative picture of black communities in our country.